My name is Trish, and if you are here because you want to watch an average schmo put in a hose bib, you're in the right spot. If you want to watch a official plumber do something, this isn't the right video for you. But I think I can do it, and I just kind of follow along with what people do on YouTube and look at how things are already done in my house and copy what's been done and go from there. So let's see how this turns out. I need a hose bib out in my front yard because we're going to replace the landscaping and we want to put in a drip system. And there's no hose bibs up there. So that's what I'm going to do. Here we go. Okay, I have two different kinds of hose bibs here, or freezerless faucets as they're called. This is the model I'm going to use. It's a Model 30. Here's the box. Model 30. I spoke to the Woodford manufacturing company, called them up, and asked them which model I should get for the purposes of what I'm doing. And I'm doing a drip system, so the faucet's going to be on the whole time. And they said this one will do the trick. There's this other one that's even more expensive, like $180 or something. This one was, I think it was 70, something like that. I'll put a link in the description. But what's confusing for me, it says not intended for continuous use. But the manufacturer said you could use this for drip systems. And obviously, if you're doing a drip system, then the faucet's going to be on the whole time because you don't want to have to turn this on and off for your drip system. But I'm going to go with what they said. Anyway, so this one is for a drip system, and you'll notice it's angled upward, and that's so that water will flow downward when you turn off the faucet. Water that's trapped in the pipe will just drip out, and that way it can't burst because it's frozen. And so that's one little thing to notice. And then this one over here is also for places where your pipes can freeze. This is not intended for continuous use for sure, because the woman I talked to at Woodford said this is only for like a regular hose bib. So if you have just a garden hose that you're going to be turning on now and then, this will work. Now, mine is never going to be on during the winter seasons. I always disconnect all this stuff before winter, so there'll never be a situation, hopefully, where it'll freeze. But that's why I'm using this one. Okay, so here are the parts that I'm using. I'm using a T, and that's what I'm going to use to tap into the cold water. This has a threaded end that's going to tap onto the end of the new hose bib, or whatever you call it. And then I have these elbows that I'm going to use to run the line. And I bought, these are all Shark Bite. I love these things because you don't have to like solder anything together. They just push on and you're good to go. And and I also bought the Shark Bite water line, so it's flexible. You can just, it's easy to run. I have to run it quite a bit, like I think at least maybe 15 feet. So anyway, let's get that started. This is that Shark Bite piece I was talking about, and that's going to get connected onto the end of this thing. And I'm going to wrap this with Teflon tape and then connect it on there. I wanted to show you, though, how easy this stuff is to use. So this is a little tool to remove it from whatever pipe you have it connected to. You can connect it to this blue stuff, which is also a Shark Bite product, or a regular copper pipe. So to get it off, you just use this tool and pull. Pulls right off. To put it on, you just put it on and push it all the way in there, as far as it'll go. That's it. No soldering, no nothing. And it also works on copper pipe too. So let me show you putting it on that. There's a little piece of copper pipe. That's it. Just put it on there and it works. Easy peasy. No soldering or nothing. I love this stuff. So let's get that attached. Okay, so here's the hose bib that leads to the backyard. And it's, I'll show you what you need to get for, oops, the light's gonna fall. What you need to get for that part. We are in the Midwest, so it gets cold, and you don't want your pipes to freeze, so you have to do special things out here. But anyway, you can see here, it's just a 1/2-inch copper pipe that leads to that thing, and it goes through the, I'm in the basement, it goes right through that side of the house. So let's see where I'm gonna put ours in the front yard. Okay, so I'm on the side of our yard here, and you see that there, that there, and that there. They all come out two siding, whatever these called, slats up from the bottom. So that's as high as I can put the hose bib. Now, all this is getting replaced. They came in and killed everything. Okay, so right here is where I want to put the new hose bib. So it's going to go right about there, I think. Maybe a little further over here. We're not going to have a hose reel out here. It's just for the drip system, but we are going to hook it up to a hose once in a while when we, like, you know, do the power washing of the house or something. All right, so that's where I'm putting it. Now let's go back into the basement. Okay, so I measured, and I'm going to put the hole as high up, but not so high that I can't, the pipe's gonna this is gonna interfere with the pipe coming through, but right up there to get it as high as I can, and up against this, because I'm gonna use this I'm gonna bracket the pipe onto here to make it really sturdy. So I'm gonna nip off that nail right there. Don't need that. Actually, I can just smack it up, I think. And then I'll do the drilling and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so first what I'm gonna do is just do a pilot hole that goes into the front yard. So, because I don't wanna put a big old bit through the siding. So this drill bit's probably about, I don't know, 18 inches long or something. And let's see here. Put it on high power mode. There we go. Then what I'm going to go do, from the other side, I'm going to get a hole saw and drill a hole through the siding. And probably come all the way through to the garage, or basement. That's my next move. So I need to find the right size hole saw. And this one looks like it's like exactly the right size. Let's see if you can see it that way. So it's probably too small, honestly. But I'm gonna test it on a piece of wood and just see if this will fit around it. Because you want the tightest fit you can get so that little critters and things can't get in. Of course, you're gonna seal the hole with some of that Expando foam stuff. But, you know, you don't want big holes in your basement. Okay, here we go. I'm going to test it out on some wood. Okay, let's see how that works. Well, there you go. It's actually a little big. That's okay. Like I said, I'm gonna. Oops, sorry, you can't see it. So what I like to do when I'm poking holes through to the outside is stuff a little bit of steel wool in there and fill it up with that foam stuff, because the little mice don't like chewing through the steel wool. Or copper wool, probably better, because then it won't interact with the copper pipe, and it also won't rust. We don't like rust around here. So that is what I'm going to probably do to fill this hole up. You could also just put silicone. Just up to you, I suppose. Okay, so I'm going to go in with this guy. It's a very aggressive bit. And go through the wall. Here we go. There's the basement. All right. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this with Teflon tape now. And to do that, I find it easiest to hold the tape like this so that it's rolling off from the bottom like that. And then you wrap it around clockwise. And I usually do like 3 or 4 rounds. I don't know how many you're supposed to do. You can look that up if you don't trust me. And then you just screw it on there. And get a couple wrenches and tighten it up. So I'm going to put that in my little vise over here. Do that. Actually, you don't need a wrench if you're going to do it this way. So I'm just going to tighten it up right there and make sure I don't hit the shark bite part. That's probably good enough. Right there. That's as tight as I can get it. There. Okay, now I'm going to attach the hose to it. And I'm going to put it through the front yard into the basement. It's nice and sturdy in there. Can't pull it out. Here we go. All right, now I'm just going to put this hose right through there. And force my way in. There we go. So that's going to go like that. And I'm going to put it flat eventually. Right now I'm just going to leave it like that. I'll probably put some kind of caulking underneath because this isn't really what's keeping the faucet steady. You'll see what I do when I'm down in the basement to keep it steady. But that is basically where we're going to have it. Like that. All right. Okay, so there it is. And I'm going to put some blocking behind it there. Try to do this with one hand. There. I'm going to put this blocking back there. Trust me, it's going back down. So let me do that and secure this thing, and I'll see what it looks like when we're done. So it'll go like that, and then I'm going to put that on there to keep that hose in place. So let me go do that, and I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, you see how that's in there now. So now I'm going to bring this down this way, and I already have this already on here. Attach it to that, and then I'm gonna cut it and attach it right there. Okay, now I'm gonna cut it right there. So you want it to obviously overlap this, and I'm thinking if it goes in right to that mark there, I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna cut it right there. And now, shove it in there. Sorry. It should be good. Okay. I'm going to cinch this down over here. Just going to tighten that bracket right there. And this should be done. All right, so there's that. And you see this line I've already run from up here all the way over to where I'm connecting it to the existing plumbing. So that goes there, and then out there. It's all hooked up. All right, now let me show you what I did over there. Okay, so I'm out the other end of my basement here, and you see there's the water line. There's another elbow there that I put in, and it turns out I only needed 2 elbows. So you'll have to figure out how many elbows you need, you know, just from obviously, you know, from where you're going to where you're going to end up. Comes down this pipe here, and then I'm going to tap into right there into the line that goes into the toilet. You just have to make sure you pick a water line that is not hot water, because then you'll just be putting hot water outside. I almost accidentally did that. So now I'm going to show you how to tap into that thing. I turned the water off, and now I'm draining out the water from the lowest place in the house, which is down here in the basement. This is lower than that, but I want to get as much of it out as I can, and then when I cut into that pipe there, there'll be more water that comes out, but I'm going to have a little tray. You'll see what I'm doing in a sec here. I'm going to use some emery cloth to clean off the pipe. And let's probably put it in right there. And do this for 100 years. Oh, it comes off pretty easily, actually. Oh, here. There. All right, and then this outside part I'm going to get with this little tool here. You just go in and go. So now I'm going to cut this, and you want to get, if you could reach around your pipe with something nice and handy like this, that works the best, but I can't obviously do that with here. So I'm going to find a good one, and I'm pretty sure this is one of my good ones, because you don't want some cheapo thing. And you cut the pipe, and there's a bazillion videos on how to cut pipe out there. And hopefully this will fit around there. Get it right on the little rollers. You want to make sure your line is not going off center. It has to stay right where it's supposed to be. Tighten a little. And turn. Tighten a little. So there's this little line. You'll see I'm starting to cut right into it right there. Right there. That line, you want to watch that line, because you don't want it to go start traveling around elsewhere. I'm just going to put a towel down, because there's a drain in the floor just a little bit away from where I am now. I'm going to try to get my tray up now. Try to get that last little bit that's in there. So not quite cut yet. There. That did it. Okay. I'll drain out of there. Okay. Now I'm going to get this nice and clean. This pipe here. pretty. Let me push this on as far as it'll go. There we go. Okay. So now, this part of the pipe here, it goes to the toilet, is just loose now. So, and it really is out of there. I could probably just stick it right on there, but I'm going to cut it a little shorter, just why not, right? So I'm going to cut this pipe a little shorter, clean it up, and shove it in there. Here we go. And this is where these bigger ones are nicer because they just work better. You have these 3 bearings on here, so it just works better. In my opinion, not that I'm a plumber, because I'm not a plumber. I'm an elementary school teacher, soon to be retired. I'm very happy about that, I'll tell you. So if I'm doing something wrong, you know, don't get too mad at me here. I'm clear here. I am an amateur. I'm just a homeowner who likes to save a buck on things like electricians and whatever they're called, plumbers. So now I'm going to clean this pipe up and move on. All right, so now this is all nice and clean, and I'm just going to put it in there. That's good. All right, now that's done. So now I got to cut this to length and put this in there. Yeah. And we have space, so it's going down. So I can cut it right there. That's good. Now it's just a matter of putting it in there. Make sure you get it all the way in. Okay, so now at the moment of truth. Now we're going to turn the water back on and see if anything leaks. All right, I'm going to go turn it on. All right, so earlier you may have noticed I attached this one. This is already connected up here, and I couldn't get a good enough grip on this to shove it down in there far enough. Rookie mistake. So it leaked. So I swore a few 4-letter words and turned the water off, and then took it down off of here and reattached it. And now the water's on. There's no leaks. No leaks up there either. All is well. Easy peasy. So I'm just going to attach this back up here and we're good to go. Okay, so there it is, now reattached. And, here's a better vision of that in there. Oh, watertight. Got the hiccups. And then down at this other spot here. There's no leaks there either. And the toilet's working and everything's fabulous. So that's how easy it is. Shark bite is the key to the universe. This blue stuff is super cheap. Instead of buying hundreds of dollars of copper pipe, I think I spent like 30-something dollars, maybe $40 on that big old roll. Of course, I'm never gonna need this now. And it was the smallest amount I could find at Lowe's. But that's easy peasy. Shish kabeezy. All right, peace out. Yeah, baby. Perfect. And see how it leaks out? That's supposed to happen so that all the water inside drains out. And then it stops eventually. Cool, huh?